Hello everyone, JamieStarr here for the New World News Network. On this episode, I want to get into this ridiculous non-issue that is the white elevators controversy at the Republican National Convention. Now, this Daily News article even admits they don't know the context, they know nothing about this, but they have no problem running with it and inserting their narrative of divisiveness. And here is my rule of thumb. If you're able to find completely simple things, like just the mention of the color white, and you perceive it as something racial, chances are you're the racist. If you see two interactions between a man and a woman and automatically view it as some sort of sexist power dynamic, chances are you're the sexist. That's my rule of thumb. If you only interpret things in this manner, you're the racist, you're the sexist, you're the bigot. So, first thing they said, this year's RNC may be the grand old segregated party. Well, actually, the old segregated party was the Democrats, but not many people want to admit that. Republican National Convention organizers are scrambling to replace signs labeling a bank of elevators the white elevators. And this is because, as my conversation with Brotherhood Lessons, you have a group of beta males who have been completely ruined by the feminization of black communities and everyone in general. All of this is just based in the feelings and this being stuck in a moment where, we can have iPhones and solar-powered everything and the internet, but for some reason we're still stuck in the 60s. And it's why you have ridiculous statements like, the leader of the free world, the most powerful man in the world, President Obama, claiming that he is a victim of racism. Hillary Clinton, the most powerful woman in the world right now, victim of being a woman, victim of sexism. The most powerful people out there are claiming they are victims. So of course, what are the people without any power going to assume? Well, they're going to assume they're victims as well. It's mind-boggling. The Jim Crow-esque signs. No, they weren't signs. They were patriotic-esque signs if you knew the context, but you don't. We're seen in Cleveland's Quicken Loans Arena where thousands of Republican delegates, politicians, and supporters are expected to formally nominate bombastic businessman Donald Trump as their party's presidential pick this week. It's unclear who vetted the signs or why they were hung in the first place. Neither RNC organizers nor Trump's campaign immediately responded to Daily News requests for further comments. Well, the context was that there were red, white, and blue areas. It's patriotic. Shouldn't have to explain that. But if you only see this one and have no context, and you're obsessed with imagining it's still the 60s, well then of course you're going to interpret it as this. Now when I brought this up, a friend of mine who's actually an artist and who should be able to respect colors and different colors, of course says, well, you gotta think about the history. The history of what went on and how we feel about it, and is that still going on? And I'm so sick of this shit. Live your own life. Stop trying to be stuck in a different era. Let it go. And let's move forward. You can't deal with your actual problems now if you're continually pointing to someone else's life. That's all there is to it. I wouldn't have my own life together if I was constantly looking at other people's lives and saying, well, why don't I have that? Why don't I have what they have? You got to deal with the cards you're dealt. It's that simple. And to continually trying to say that, oh, well, why are cops shooting black people? Because of slavery. No. The only way that makes sense is in your feelings. One thing upsets you, another thing upsets you. Both of these things upset you, so they must be tied together somehow. It's the beta male shit. It's the emotions and the feminizing of all of this. So, the white banners are eerily similar to the signs that once kept America segregated. Everything from bathroom. Yeah, we know what segregation was. Come on. And then, of course, they go into, earlier this year, David Duke, a former Grand Wizard of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, backed the real estate mogul, telling his white, bigoted followers that not voting for Trump was treason to your heritage. Trump eventually disavowed the endorsement, but only after repeatedly refusing to, claiming he didn't know anything about the white supremacist group. No, what he didn't know was his involvement, why they were trying to link him to it. Just because one guy who used to be in the KKK came out and said, I would vote for him over the immigration issue, because you have other people like The Guardian's Stephen Thrasher, who's praising the browning of America and talks about how wonderful America will be when there are less white people. I mean, and it's that if anyone mentions that, even though people are doing articles and videos expressing how much they will love for there to just be less white people, you're called a conspiracy theorist for mentioning this. I first saw this as Professor Griff talking about this, oh, the conspiracy of a white genocide. People are worried about white genocide. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about, white genocide? Oh, well, then I see Stephen Thrasher and all these other intellectuals talking about how wonderful the world will be when there are less white people, and how when everyone else outnumbers them. I mean, if this was coming from any other culture, if it was coming from white people, it would be called out. It would be called out, and it would say, this is a supremacist mindset. You are picking a group and labeling them as an enemy, and you're basically saying how good it will be when they are demoralized and defeated. It's mind-blowing. But let's just keep in mind, Hillary Clinton remembers friend and mentor Robert Byrd. And even Snopes admits that Hillary was kissed by Robert Byrd. They go through and talk about how he left the Klan and disavowed it, and we're supposed to all be okay with that, but we're not supposed to be okay with David Duke leaving the Klan and disavowing it. There's one standard for one and one for the other. The NAACP even released a statement honoring Byrd and mourning his passing away. Isn't that amazing? The NAACP mourning a former white supremacist. And then, of course, it goes through saying, first of all, Trump declined to comment on Duke and the KKK, making the story current and newsworthy. While a photograph of Hillary Clinton was taken more than a decade ago, the lack of current coverage isn't because the print media are ignoring the association, but because the photograph is several years old story. It's also because, as we see from the DNC links, Democrats are very tied into the media and helping organize the negative publicity for Trump. Second, while David Duke is no longer a member of the KKK, he is still an active member of another supremacist organization, the National Association for the Advancement of White People. Now I wonder, is that sort of similar to the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People? Again, the NAACP is fine. The NAAWP is bad. Two sets of standards. If there is a white group, it is only to be viewed as evil. If there is a black group, it is only to be viewed as good. The soft bigotry of lower expectations. This is ridiculous. Like I said, rule of thumb, I mean, if we want a standard, let's have a standard straight across. Hillary was endorsed by a KKK member, so was Donald Trump, so we can hold them both guilty, or it can negate itself, and we could say, so what? Lots of weirdos endorse lots of people. That doesn't mean the person being endorsed endorses the person endorsing them. It's that simple. Logic. Logic is lacking nowadays. But the stuff about the colors, like I was saying, a friend of mine brought up, oh, you have to know the history. And it's like, I wonder if this person, if every time they pick up a white marker or a white paint, if they just cringe and are like, oh, the color of my enemy. I mean, it's such a tribal mindset. Like I said, red, white, and... Oh, and the other remark he made is saying that it only comes from one direction. Okay, only comes from one direction. Indians didn't get mad about the red elevators. So, the only direction it seems to be coming from is black people. They're the only ones that are oversensitive about these type of things and will see something in a modern setting with no context and then automatically revert to this very selective window of history that they know of. I mean, it's Michelle Obama coming out this week. I live in a house built by slaves. Yeah, and Scottish Masons and freed black people. What's your point? What's your point? I mean, it's amazing, and if I bring this up, a friend of mine says, well, what about the rest of the quote? Okay, what about it? She pivots from talking about being in a house built by slaves to then her daughters playing on the White House lawn and Hillary Clinton becoming, so it goes black people, women, women, it's dog whistling. That's what it is. She knows if she mentions slavery, shout out slavery, y'all, dog whistle to black people. Then mentioning, Hillary Clinton, dog whistle to women. It's their identity politics dog whistling. They accuse everyone else of it while they do it themselves. The other thing is, isn't it funny how when Donald Trump comes out and says, "Make America Great Again," how after 7 years of the Obamas basically having a fuck America position and basically saying we need to fundamentally change America, that's what he campaigned on, fundamentally change America, that now they're trying to say, well, America is so great. America is so great, you could have a black woman living in a house built by slaves. We don't need to make it great again. It is great. And suddenly everyone forgets that they were saying fuck America for the past 7 years. It's completely ridiculous. But, wanted to cover this. I think it's so ridiculous. Like I said, let's remove white from the flag. Let's just get off the colors, ban it from Crayola, crayon boxes. It's too triggering. Too triggering. Let's replace every white with black. We'll have 2 black crayons, for the sake of representing a marginalized group. Sound good?